Let's look at IELTS Writing Task 2, and we have an example question for this. We know that the IELTS Writing Task 2 is the same for the general and the academic IELTS. Here's an example of a question. It is often argued that professional sports people nowadays are overpaid compared to other members of society. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So we need to think about this topic. Professional sports people are overpaid compared to other members of society. So for example, if you have a footballer, might be paid millions and millions of dollars or pounds per year, compared to a doctor or a lawyer, they're probably getting a lot more money, or compared to other members of society, people who just have your regular jobs. So do they deserve to get more money? What do you think? Do you think they do deserve more money? So your very famous athletes, or don't they? Alright, so let's have a look at how this is answered. So we've got a 4-paragraph essay here. Let's just quickly have a look at some main ideas for writing task 2. So uses formal language. Many professional sports people today earn enormous salaries, in some cases greater than $5 million a year. While some people feel that these salaries are justified, others argue that athletes should not earn more money than other more useful members of society, such as doctors or teachers. This essay will discuss both viewpoints and argue that sports people do in fact deserve the high payments they deserve. So we're going to say that they do deserve these payments, but overall I'm using very formal language. There's no contractions. You're not saying that I will discuss. No, it's this essay will discuss. So you're being quite formal with your language, and there's no contractions, there's no can't, it's cannot and do not, those types of things. Of course, a thesis statement shows our content. So all good writing has a thesis statement, or all good essay writing should have a thesis statement. What is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is a sentence or a few sentences which tell the reader what they can expect to find in the essay. So what's going to follow in this essay? Well, we always look at the thesis statement. And where is the thesis statement? The thesis statement is the last sentence of the introduction. This essay will discuss both viewpoints, so I know I'm going to get both viewpoints. I'll get one viewpoint here and one viewpoint here, and it will have a conclusion which will also give which will say what our overall opinion is if we agree or disagree. Okay, so this one here, body paragraph 1 is giving the against opinion. So I'm going to give a little against opinion, and what did I say overall? I said I actually agree. They do in fact deserve high payments. So notice that my against opinion is shorter than my next one, which is my for opinion, or my agree opinion. So by writing more, that actually shows that I do agree, that I'm for this idea. Okay, and in terms of the final conclusion, obviously I'm giving my writer's opinion very, very clearly here in a typical conclusion structure. So let's go through a little bit again in a bit more detail and see what are the key features of this essay. So we've got our formal language, our introduction, giving both viewpoints. Let's have a look at the body, paragraph 1. On the one hand, those who argue against athletes receiving high salaries point out that they do not make great contributions to the development of society in the way that scientists, doctors, teachers, and even politicians do. So some people are saying, well, they're not so important. They're not really contributing that much to society. They're not teaching people, or they're not fixing people, or they're not coming up with great discoveries, scientific discoveries, or they're not the leaders of our society. So why do they really deserve these millions of dollars? It can also be argued that sports people work shorter hours than most workers, receiving large sums of money for only a few hours, sometimes only a few minutes work. So somebody who is a golfer, for example, is going to earn huge amounts of money, or a tennis player, or a footballer, for just a few hours of work, compared to people who work 9 to 5. They might be in an office all day, every day, so their hourly rate is much lower. So that's the against opinion. But let's have a look at why I've said we actually agree. However, it can also be argued that the high salary sports people are well deserved for several reasons. Firstly, they provide entertainment which many people are happy to pay to watch, in the same way that we do for movie stars or pop singers. So we're putting our sports people in an entertainment area. We're saying they're kind of like entertainers. They deserve the same amount as movie stars or pop singers. They generate income, often for corporations or TV broadcasters, and they're entitled to a fair percentage of that income. So we're saying that TV channels and TV networks and cable networks, they're making huge amounts of money. So surely the people who they're showcasing, the people who are performing on these TV shows, they should deserve a fair percentage. I think that's a good argument. Secondly, they work extremely hard throughout their youth and their short career to achieve that level of athletic excellence. This is a strong argument, I feel, that during their time, when they're in there maybe from 18 to the early 20s, or they might be from 20 to 30, they've got that moment of time to make their money. For the rest of their lives, they might not be able to. Therefore, the high salaries are necessary to compensate for the risky and fleeting nature of pro sports careers. This is really great writing. These are power words. So it's risky, fleeting nature of. That's really advanced writing there. So this overall is probably an example of a 9.0 score for IELTS, because there's some really super advanced and powerful language being shown. But I like this idea that we're saying that we're summarizing this information, but we're also saying that it's risky. So obviously athletes can get injuries. They might break a bone in their body. They might be out for a whole season. They could get concussion. They might have injuries after their career is over. So there's actually a lot of reasons why they should get paid, almost like danger money, not for all sports, but for some sports. And fleeting nature of, well, that just means a short amount of time. So to sum up, although the extreme salaries of some professional athletes can lead to the knee-jerk reaction that all sports people are grossly overpaid, I believe that most of them in fact deserve the remuneration they receive for embarking on short, risky and entertaining careers. So we've said that even though some people say that they are overpaid, and I've used a really powerful word there, grossly overpaid, I believe that most of them in fact deserve the remuneration. So what's remuneration? That's another word for payment or a salary. And that's really strong language that they receive for embarking on, so starting a career, a short, risky and entertaining career. So again, fantastic writing. It's going to be challenging for people who don't have English as a first language to be able to use that type of language, because it is super advanced. But just want to show you what a really great Writing Task 2 essay looks like, and particularly the structure and the way it's written in a very formal way.